I hope you had a chance to reset a little bit. Justin said no. Justin said it was not a reset. Hope you got a chance to relax a little bit, breathe a little bit. So John Zissimos is one of my favorite inspirational people. I got to hear him, I don't know how, it's been a year and a half or two since I first heard him. He is the Vice President of Creative, Brand Media, and Customer Programs at Google. I have to read that because his title's so big and so long. But it's not only exciting because of what you do for Google and your look at what's happening now in media in the future, but I wanted to bring John into the class because I feel like we need a little inspiration, all of us, during this time. And John is an alum, graduated when it was radio, television, film back in the day. But part of what I love about John and his journey is how many different things he has done. He's been in advertising and film, and just very interested in inclusion and equal pay and diversity, and very involved in those issues as well. But very good in just sharing his wealth of knowledge and wisdom. So I want you to have as much time as you possibly can with John today. I cannot thank you enough because I know how busy you must be, lots of things going on, but spending time with us. John was supposed to be our graduation speaker for Klein College, and graduation is postponed. We're so sorry about that, but we are fortunate enough to have you. So John, it's all yours.
Thank you. It is such a privilege to be here today with all of you. And I know you're all like, what the hell just happened? You know, you're home, or you're with your parents, or you're not even be able to get back to where your parents are. You don't know how you're going to finish school, and everybody is in the same boat. Every student across this country, across the world, everyone's in the same place. It's one of those times where you can't just go, hey, why did this happen to me? This is happening to everybody. All of work is being disrupted. There's so many people just not knowing what's next, what's tomorrow, how are they going to get to next week. And that is really, really tough. But I will tell you, this will pass. This too shall pass. It doesn't feel like that when you're in the middle of it, but it will pass. And you have such an incredible, amazing life ahead of you. And you can't think about this moment too much. What you have to do right now is you have to think about this moment. Who are you going to be in this moment? What can you be in this moment? You don't want to just be hanging around feeling sorry for yourself, because that isn't going to get you anywhere in this moment. It's not going to help the people that you love and care about you, and those that you can help. Everybody has the ability to help somebody in this moment at this time. And while you can't do it physically and you're not supposed to be around other people, you certainly can do it like this. You certainly can reach out. You can make phone calls. You can talk to students that are younger than you, brothers and sisters, and anybody that you can touch at this moment to be able to help them through that period is the most important thing that we can all do. I feel incredibly blessed to be home and trapped with my wife and 3 daughters, who were just trying to make it fun every single day. It's just a blessing. If you told me a month ago what it would take for me to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with my daughters every day, I'd say I'd have to leave Google. I'd have to leave my career. That would be it for me. But that's what I'm doing today. I'm having breakfast, lunch, and dinner with my 3 little girls. And that is an unbelievable blessing. So in this sea of uncertainty, there is this incredible moment that I'm being able to have with my family that I didn't think was possible. I just did not think that could be possible, that I could be able to do that. And now I'm rethinking the way, how I'm going to come back to work. When we are able to go back, Will I be getting in the car to drive? Sometimes I go to Google headquarters. It's like 3 hours a day in a car, 3.5, sometimes 4, depending on traffic. Would I do that again? Or would I spend that at home and having a meeting more like this? And so those are some of the things that I'm thinking about. I'm also thinking about, as a vice president at Google, we're thinking about every single living human being on earth that is dying for information, and where are they going to go? And the first place they go is to that Google search bar and search, how do I do this? How do I do that? When is this going to be over? And for us we're working 24/7 right now to make sure all of those systems function. And we're starting to roll out, how do we get our tools in the hands of everyone around the world that can use them and open that up for free. And so we're working through so many things right now to help everyone and our customers and all the people. So I feel incredibly inspired every morning when I wake up to work at a company like this. And my message to you is, this is your search. This is your search to find a kind of company and a place where you can work and you can give your gifts and your heart and your soul to something that you feel great about. And that is just so important as you're thinking about, what are you going to do? You have all this extra time on your hands right now. What are you going to do? How are you going to spend this time? What are you thinking about? How can you apply yourself? What can you read? What can you catch up on? What can you do in this moment so that you don't waste this unbelievable time? Because this time, believe it or not, you can look at it two ways. One, it's crazy what's going on in the world and so many people suffering. But if you're healthy in your home, you can take advantage of this moment to do something great for yourself, to do something great for others. And you spend this time wisely. You may not be in school, but there's so much stuff you can catch up on. And I would ping Luann and all your professors, what could I get ahead on next year? What can I read? What can I do? How can I accelerate my learning in these moments when I have all this free time? And so it's so important that you take this moment and look back and go, in that moment 10 years ago, when the whole world felt like it was falling apart, I stepped up and did these things, and I'm so glad that I did. So take advantage of it. Everything that comes to you in life is an opportunity. And if you've heard me speak before, I always talk about 3 words. Success is a choice. Every morning when you wake up, who are you going to be? What are you going to do? How are you going to spend that time? It's so important that you realize that your success is a choice that you make in any given moment, and that you are in full control of the success of your life if you think that way. If you wallow in just what happened to you last week, or you bring things that have been bothering you into next year or next semester, or into that, if you're a sophomore, into your junior year, into your senior year, that'll just hold you back. And it's so important in these moments that you let go of things that are bothering you, and you embrace the things that you can control, the things that you can see and help your future get to. And just remember, success is in the choice, and the choices that you make every single moment, every single day, are going to pay off in either success or holding you back. I don't want to just talk for forever, but mostly I'm here because I'm sure you have a lot of questions. And I will tell you, well, I'll say one last thing. I remember being where you are right now. It was 1987, 88 when I graduated, and I didn't go to my graduation. And I was funny when they asked me to come speak at the graduation this year. I was like, God, I never went to my graduation. What's this going to be like? And it's crazy. I don't even know why I didn't go. But what I know is that it took me a couple of years to find a job, because there was a massive recession in the world when I got out of school. And we're creating a recession right now because we want to keep as many people alive. Think about that. We have stopped all economic activity to save people's lives. That is heavy stuff to think about. But the recession that I came into was economic. And I just remember how difficult it was to get a job, and coming out, knowing nothing, didn't know how to interview, could barely put a resume together. And I ended up finally getting a job. So you just, persistence gets you there. But I'll tell you, as life went on, it wasn't 10 years later that the dot-com explosion happened. Everything was blowing up. And then the whole industry I was in exploded. And there was such uncertainty for another couple of years. Nobody knew what was happening. A bunch of people got laid off. That led us back into an economic boom, which took us to the financial crisis. But even before that, there was 9/11. 9/11 is like this moment now, where the world is all fine, and then this exogenous event happens, and it shakes us to our core, and life is not the same again for a while. And if you lived through 9/11, which I know many of you were so young, if not even born yet, you'll know that people were talking about, oh, are we ever going to laugh again? And are we ever going to be able to be safe again? And it's kind of like the discussions that are going on now. And I will tell you that these things happen all the time. Life is a series of surprises, some good surprises, some devastating, and surprises on a spectrum in between those two things. Your ability to deal with ambiguity in life, to be able to wake up and know that everything before you has just changed, and to be able to persevere in those moments is the difference between success and not failure, but just about anything else. But I will tell you, after 9/11, this country came back. Everyone started working again. And lo and behold, in 2007, there was the financial crisis. So many people lost their homes. So many people lost their jobs. And then in 2009, we went into the largest economic expansions in the history of the United States. And that just ended about 8 weeks ago with the coronavirus. And who would have seen this coming? Well, our government kind of plans for these things. And if you look at the history of pandemics, they happen about every 100 years, almost to on the clock, which is insane. But here we are again. And I will tell you, the Spanish flu, you think about polio, everything that has affected this world, the world has bounced back and it's become back stronger and better. And in this moment, when you're so uncertain, because you have not lived through much of what I've talked about, you're just in the prime of your life and you're just getting to that part where you're on your own and you're an adult for the first time. But I will tell you that these things will happen and you will get through them. And all it takes is a mindset. It takes a mindset to know that on the other side, greatness is coming and everything's going to be fine. And it's just having that in the back of your mind that helps you get through that. It's tougher because you haven't been through enough of these, but I will tell you, I have, and in each time they got easier because, oh God, I look back and I go, I remember that happened and we made it past it. But the first time I was like, am I ever gonna work? Am I gonna get a job? After the dot-com, that was really shook me. I had a career, was pretty good. I'm like, am I gonna work again? But every time, something great happened. One door closes, another one opens. But what's most important now is that you stay safe, that as difficult as it is, that you keep away from as many people as you can, that you don't become someone, because you have such a strong immune system being so young, that you could have this thing on you right now. You could have coronavirus on you. You could spread it to people that you love. So as difficult as that is, that you want to just go hug your parents and your grandparents and do all that, just kind of keeping away is the most important thing you can do in this time. And just staying safe and staying healthy, because the more we do that together as a nation, as a world, as in humanity, the quicker we will get past this, the quicker we can get back to work, the quicker you can get back to school, and that everything will go back to the way it was, if not better. And, that is the message for today. Stay safe, stay healthy. Success is a choice. Make great choices right now. Don't do anything dumb. Don't go down to Florida and party on the beach with everyone. Make good choices. Take this time to get ahead and be there for each other. You know, Zoom is an amazing product. So is all the stuff that we have at Google for you guys to all connect with each other and share and be a focus group for each other about how you're feeling. This is not easy. And it's certainly not easy to even admit that it's not easy. To say that I'm scared as hell right now, I am lonely, and to reach out to someone and say that, that's tough to do. You know, that is really tough to do. But in those moments is where you find yourself, and it's where you find that you know somebody absolutely cares about you too. Like, who are you reaching out to? How are they feeling back? What are they saying to you? And what can you be for someone else in this moment? I'm just thinking about a couple of people I talked to yesterday that were just in so much pain, and it's just getting me quite emotional in this moment. But, you know, that's what it's all about. It's all about us being here for each other. The moment we forget that we're all here for each other, we're all completely lost, every single one of us. And it's so important that we just reach out to everybody, especially if you know someone's in pain. You know, there are people that come to school, especially a school like Temple. There's such a wide, and I said I was going to stop talking and take questions, and I'm doing nothing but talking, so I'm sorry. But especially a place like Temple, there's such great, amazing diversity there. And there's so many different kinds of people from all over the place that come to school at Temple. And you don't know anyone's certain situations, but I'll tell you that there's probably someone, even in this audience right now, you don't even know how you're going to pay for next semester. You're probably not even to be able to do that job that you normally can do. And that is heavy. That is really heavy. And all I can say to you is that it just, don't let that weigh too heavy on you. That the school, the administrators, the faculty, they are just killing themselves in the background to try and figure this out for everybody. And this is something they've never dealt with before, but they're going to, a lot of programs are going to come in place all over the United States so that everybody can figure this out, especially our students, because the whole future of the United States are in these universities, and the whole future of your parents are in you in that university, and the people that love you. So know that everybody is thinking about this. And for those of you on your own and alone, that's a whole different story. Know that there's strength in knowing that you got there this far. There is nothing going to stop you from making it the rest of the way. You don't quit now. This will not stop you. If you are alone and you are making your way through college like I did, I paid my entire way through school. You know, there were times where I was like, am I going to eat, or am I going to buy this book, or what am I going to do in this moment? And I remember how difficult those moments were, but all I knew is that I had to go to school. I had to make it through school. I had to get through school and get somewhere. And so I did whatever I had to do to get through and made the sacrifices. I didn't go out on the weekends. I didn't do certain things, but that all paid itself out in the future. So whatever you need to do now, whatever help you need to do, wherever you need to reach out, it's worth doing. You do not want to fall back. You do not want to say, well, this happened, so I'm going to quit this now. That's completely not something you can quit a lot of things in life, but you cannot quit yourself. You cannot quit yourself in this moment. Do not let this moment allow you to make an excuse to pull back, especially on school, or to quit. If you're in a situation where you need help, you need to reach out to the school and go through every angle you possibly can to get help so that you can stay in school and that you can continue to fight your way through graduation and getting out to the world, where the world absolutely needs every single one of you, especially for those of you that are in journalism. If you've watched the news today and you hear a lot about fake news, if you're a journalism major, and the world needs you more than ever right now. Storytellers, the world needs you. Everything that you're learning at the Klein College is what you're going to use out in the world to tell the truth, to uncover what's happening, to tell the stories that everyone needs to be inspired about. So nobody quit now in this moment for whatever reason. Stay with it. School will come back. Your life will come back. Your friends will come back. You'll be able to go out again and be together with everyone. And it's coming, but just hang in there for now. Now I'm going to stop talking for a minute and happy to take some questions. I'm sure you have some thoughts, or maybe you can kick it off, Luann, if you had any that the kids had.
Well, Justin, you there? You sent in some questions.
Yeah.
You wanna
Hi,
lob
Justin.
one of those? Open your mic.
Hold on. I gotta find my questions.
I pinged them to you in your Hangouts window.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Yeah,
We're gonna do a little cross.
I don't see it right now, but I'll take a look.
Okay, you and I share a ping window. Let me see.
How is this it? How did you get involved with Google?
Yep.
Okay. What was the career path you predicted for yourself? Good Lord. Did you have any role models in this field or in general when growing up? You know, it took me 30 years to get to Google. When I got out of school, Google wasn't even a company. And I never thought there'd be a job for me at Google. It's just, you know, it's a company at one point I was just so in awe of. And I'll tell you, I'm there now. I work at Google. I walk in there every day and I am in awe of that place. I'm just so incredibly inspired to work at Google and be a leader there. But I got involved with Google by having a career path, doing really well in a job and excelled at a job and built an amazing organization and team and a body of work at a company called Salesforce, so much so that Google hunted me down and came looking for me and pulled me out of there, offered me the world to come to Google and duplicate what I was doing at another company. And that is a great lesson right there. Everything you do is built like a block of Legos. You set a foundation, you have success, you build another layer, another plateau, you go somewhere, you learn more, you succeed, the word gets out about you. You know, you go from being an individual contributor to a manager of people. And what do you do in that moment? How are you going to lead? And if you're lucky, that works and you become a manager of a lot of people. And if you're really lucky, you can become a leader. A leader is so much different than a manager. You know, to say that you're a leader, to become a leader is a whole different level. And so there's these plateaus and these things you reach, and it's about pouring yourself into what you're doing and continuing to just succeed and learn from your failures and move and go. And one job leads to another job, leads to another job, leads to another job. Every time you do something great, a door opens for you to have an opportunity to do something else. As long as you can see that door open, and as long as you can, like I said earlier, put aside things that are holding you back and just keep moving. And the way that I got to Google was just by continuing to succeed and putting myself at risk at all times, at calculated risks, and succeeding and moving and learning to be a good leader out of mistakes of not being such a great manager over time, and continuing to take the feedback from the team so that I can be everything that they wanted me to be. And that's another lesson. People will tell you what they want from you if you just have the ability to listen, if you can just hear them. And so listening is huge, and people will give you all the direction in the world. You don't have to go to seminars or do anything. Your team, your coworkers will tell you what you need to do. And listening to that and hearing that and applying that is such a big key to success in life. So I got to Google by just doing a good job before getting to Google. And was this the career path? You know, I always dreamed about being a filmmaker, and I still do, quite frankly. You know, I haven't dropped that. Um, and I get to make films and tell stories at work, but my path was that I wanted to be a storyteller. I wanted to make films. I thought making commercials seemed really fun. And I ended up in a world of advertising, which led me to this job today. And it's just been an exciting and really fun career to be able to tell stories and solve problems. I mean, your job in advertising, communications, journalism, public relations, you know, you think it's one thing, the creation of stories and assets, but it's really not. The thing that you're doing is you're solving very complex problems for someone, something, a company, you know, and you're getting together with a group of people to solve their most challenging issues at any given moment. And I will tell you that is such an exciting thing to do, to get in a room, to face a problem. Imagine right now, all the companies around the world have this problem about how are they going to communicate to their customers what's going on, that their stores are closing. What are they telling their employees? What is the government telling the citizens of America? There are people that are leaving classrooms just like you in these careers right now, figuring out what to say, when to say it, how to take that feedback and how to act. And those are the most important jobs in the world today in communications. And those are all of the things that you're studying for and preparing for at Temple University. How are you going to show up in that moment? How are you going to solve those issues that everyone's having? How are you going to put out communications that inspire people and help them relax? Imagine being the head of PR at Kaiser Permanente, the hospital right now. Imagine being the head of PR for Governor Cuomo in New York, who's brilliantly on television every day for about an hour and a half, speaking from his heart and his soul with empathy, the likes of which we have not seen a public figure do in a long time. Study that broadcast every day if you're in a communications program right now like you are. Watch how he approaches the camera, how he drives from his heart and his soul and talks about his daughter in the middle of that conversation. That's who you want to be. That's what you want to tap into. Empathy, empathy, empathy. That you can feel for another human being is one of the greatest tools of storytelling, that you can look across from you and see someone and know that the story you're about to tell them or the help that you're about to give them will land because you understand where they are in that moment in their lives. And the best communicators in the world learn how to do that. That takes a long time to get there, but you know, it starts with one step. And it's about listening. It's about understanding that person in front of you and being able to communicate with them with what it is they want to hear. And sometimes what they don't want to hear, but in the way that they can hear it and that it can be helpful. A lot of the information that people are hearing today is not something they want to hear, but in the style that is told in a way that they need to hear it, with empathy and with compassion and with heart, they understand that that's something they didn't want to hear, but they're so happy that they did because it's helpful. And that's the job. What else?
John, we
yeah.
got a couple hands up here.
Yeah, go for it.
You want to open your mic, Angela?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I love the picture behind you. Look at you, the Last Supper.
Yep, it's been hanging in my house forever.
Now, there's a leader that led with empathy and compassion and with heart.
Yes, reminded every day. So my question for you, as you mentioned when you were talking earlier, how when you graduated, you were in the middle of it was the beginning of the recession back in 2008. And I mean, right now, I had an internship lined up for this summer. I don't know what the status of it is right now. Currently, it's pushed back. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do it. But, you know, right now I'm not sure. And I'm only a sophomore, so I know that there are other people that are also in my position, especially seniors right now who are graduating, who maybe had jobs lined up or other important or other people that had important internships lined up that now are kind of in a position where they don't really know how that's going to go. So I was just wondering if you had any advice for students that are in my position, seniors that are in this position with jobs, going through that, and any advice you had to give them.
Yeah, well, on the internship path, I would certainly reach out and go, I really want to continue this internship. I would love to do it over video chat. Any possible way that I can continue that, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to keep that internship intact. Would you be able to do it over a video call? That show great initiative to someone that you would reach out to. And you will be very surprised that you apply yourself. And I will give you another really important thing to all of you. Ask. Ask for things that you want. Never be afraid, ashamed, intimidated, scared, and a million other emotions. Ask. Ask, 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 ask. Do it in a nice way, and you will find that it just works. You know, if you're going to go into sales in life, one of the things they have you do is you go and you make a pitch, but at the end of it, you have to ask for the sale. You have to say, now that I've told you all this, when can we make a deal? How can I get you to buy this thing? And that your job right now in this moment, when you're looking for internships and for jobs, is to ask for an interview, is to ask for an extension if you can't do something, is to ask for that internship to still take place. Don't think just because of this it won't, or that someone says, hey, because of this, we're not doing it. Just go, can I ask you a question? I'm willing to do this over video conference at any time that you would give me. Would you continue the internship in that way? It means the world to me. Who's gonna not look you in the eyes and have a moment of reflection there and not say, let me get back to you. Let me go check. And you know what that person's gonna do? They're gonna go back and go, I liked this person when they applied and we told her that we were gonna give her this internship, but what she just called and asked for is exactly the reason why we should continue this internship. So know that those moments happen. And you just have to ask, be determined. And it's okay if you hear no, but it's not okay if you didn't ask, because 10 years from now, you'll be like, why didn't I ask? Why didn't I ask? Don't ever get to that point where you're doubting why you didn't do something. Just ask. Hopefully that's helpful.
John, we got another question from Avi.
Hey, Avi.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good to hear. So you mentioned a couple of times about how, you weren't expecting to, well, I mean, Google wasn't around when you were in school, obviously.
Yeah.
And that you've kind of encountered many setbacks with like the dot-com bomb and the recession, especially in such an ever-evolving field that the media market is and that software is. How do you prepare yourself for things that haven't exactly happened yet? As someone who's a freshman who really has no idea what they want to do with their life, I'm trying to prepare myself for careers that aren't out there yet or positions that haven't, come available yet. How did you, I guess, do that in school, and how do you do that now?
I don't remember how I did that at school, other than, I grew up in a way where I had to fend for myself a lot. And so I was always prepared for curveballs. I didn't know it at the time. It's just who I was, kind of a scrappy street kid. And I had to work. I mean, there were things that I had to do for things to happen for me. And so because of that, because of constantly working that way, I was probably a little bit more prepared than most in that moment for something to go wrong, because constantly things did go wrong, and I had to figure that out. So I didn't really have anywhere to look other than to myself to figure those things out. Later in life, you know, you go through a few things and a few curveballs and some big ones, you get to the other side, and every time you get to the other side to a better place, you learn, oh, that wasn't so bad. Hey, how many people on this Zoom calls had their hearts broken? And remember that first time? That was like brutal. Do you remember you were in a fetal position in the corner of a room? You didn't even know, you couldn't even breathe, you know, and like you met somebody else, you got through it, and maybe you got your heart broken again. But the second time you're like, hey, yeah, that last one was really devastating. Maybe I shouldn't feel so crazy about this one, and on and on and on and on. So heartbreak, right? You go to the dentist and you're just, the thought of going to the dentist is 10 times crazier than the actual dentistry that happens to you. And this is about what your mind does to you and the tricks it plays on you. And the sooner that you realize the power that you actually have over your mind and the power that you have in order to see a better day and to thrive in ambiguity, which is something that is just a massively great value to ascend to, thriving in ambiguity, that any moment you're going to wake up and the world's going to be different, that a new situation is going to be handed to you. Knowing that at any moment, anything can change. And you're okay with that. That's what you want to get to, especially if you want to be a leader in a company and drive a few hundred people and a mission and a budget and a project. If you're going to make a film or you're going to tell a story, you're going to tell a story, you're going to make a film, you're going to interview people, somebody might not show up, or the story may be completely different than what you thought, or where you went, something else happens. What are you going to do in those moments? You know, knowing that anything can just explode at any given moment allows you to feel good about when it doesn't, and it prepares you to not collapse when it does. And so that's the way we operate now, especially at Google. We have that thing, like I said, thriving in ambiguity. Every day, we imagine everything we're working on just is going to explode. What are you going to do in that moment? And so it's a mindset. So right now you haven't had a lot of things go wrong, or maybe you have, but you have to learn to laugh at those things because, like I said, they'll bog you down. You know, there's people whose whole lives have not moved forward because something happened in the 12th grade. You know, they thought they were going to be a major league baseball player and they got a knee injury, and then they ended up not doing anything with their lives. And that's an extreme case, but you hear about it all the time. But that happens to everybody. You know, you use this moment in life to stop you from succeeding. And what I would say to you is use every moment in life to catapult you over that thing that just happened to you to a better day, because that's what it is. Everything is rocket fuel, and use it to take off. Is that helpful?
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, great.
More questions, guys. If you don't ask a question, I'll ask a question. This is your time.
This is your moment.
This is your
And
moment.
we could do this again. You don't have to. I'm happy.
You know
Listen,
what?
there's nothing more important that I'm going to do today. If I
Oh.
take my family out of this, than this hour right here. This is the single most important hour I'm going to spend today. And like I say, success is a choice. I made a choice to come do this. Rather than do anything else I could do with this time, I chose to do this because it is extraordinarily important to me. I know it's important to Luann, but it's important to me that I connect with all of you, and I keep connected to the students at Temple, where I got everything I ever had in my life started there at Temple. I will never forget what I learned there and what I became because I showed up there one day at Temple. So giving back is the least I can do. And so anyway.
So appreciate it. You know what, John, I've heard you talk about finding your purpose.
Yeah.
Before. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's just so powerful.
Yeah.
And I think for everyone here, especially as freshmen, I think it's hard to figure out exactly what's my role, what's my purpose, where am I going? And now this. So.
Yeah. Well, no, it's so important. I think, you know, it's so important to know why you're here. You know, And so I'll ask that question sometimes. I'll get a new team. I came into Google my first time, like, hey, why? I have a question for you. Why are you here? And people go, oh, you know, I love this company, or I really wanted to work. And I go, no. Why are you here on this planet? What are you here to do? You know, there's one thing to be in a job and to have some kind of purpose, but the most important question we must all answer as people, as human beings. And if you looked at the Last Supper, and it's basically what Jesus asked everybody as he walked through the villages, why are you here? What is the meaning of your existence, of your life? You know, this is what you need to find out. What you want to do is part of that. But why are you here? You think it's a coincidence that you were born, that just a couple of people got together and you popped out one day? I will tell you that is not the case. There is meaning in every single human being on this planet. And all of you have a purpose that you need to figure out what that is. My own took me till I was 44, 45 years old, and my first daughter was born. I did not know what the hell I was doing on this planet until that first baby popped out. It didn't take me but 10 seconds to realize I was born all those years ago to be a dad. I'm like, it was a profound moment. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And the baby went from the table where my wife was over to this warming table. It was like, from that moment, from here to there, I found my entire reason for having been born all those years ago, is that I was born to be a daddy. And it's just like, whoa. I thought, okay, maybe it's a week later, this will go away. I just had this emotional moment. There's nothing like watching a baby being born. It never went away. She's going to be 10 in August. And I have a 6, 8, and 10-year-old. And the next time, it was just even more profound. And the third child being born. And nothing has even come close to that realization that I was born to be a dad. And it is the greatest and most important job in the world. And that's just how I feel about it. Knowing that and being that, it's almost like my life just started those 10 years ago. Because that's when I've become a better leader, a better husband, a better son, a better brother, a better everything, from the moment I realized why I was here. Before that, I had a great life, I had a great career, but I didn't know what it was all for. And I think you just have to find that thing that is going to make you wake up in the morning and say, I know why I'm here. When you figure that out, you're unstoppable. Unstoppable. No one can shake you from what it is that you need to do. And a lot before that, it was a selfish endeavor. You would say, well, I went 45 years not knowing who I was or what was important. I got into my work in a very crazy way. You know, I learned everything that I needed to do. But the way that I have taken that knowledge now, after finding my purpose, is unbelievable. I never would have ended up at Google if that didn't happen. I wouldn't have been the person I was at Salesforce if I didn't become that human being, that caring soul that really started to realize. I have 3 daughters. So how did I see women in the workplace after that? I have these 3 daughters that are born. And my job now is not only to be a daddy, but to create a planet that is more generous, more equitable to women, because it wasn't, and it isn't. And it still needs to be even more. So I've dedicated an entire part of my life to that endeavor as well. I'm on the board of a place called the 3% Movement that is all about elevating creative female talent in the workplace, and in a place that I can actually drive and make a huge difference on. And I do a lot of work at work, making sure every single man and woman is paid exactly the same. It is just something that I do every year when we look at the numbers and we look at the salaries, when we start to scope a job out and we bring applicants in, that everybody gets paid the same. And I think that's hugely important. And I'm doing that because my first daughter showed up, and she is the inspiration for me to be just a better human being every single day. So I know my purpose, which makes me better at work, which makes me make sure I don't waste any time at work. I'm very determined because why? I got to get home. I want to get home for dinner. I want to see my family. and they are number one. My family comes first, then work is like down on the list, which also makes me great at work because it's not that important. I'm able to see and hear other ideas. I'm a much better leader because work is at the bottom of my list of things that are important to me. And that sounds counterintuitive, but I will tell you, it is true. When you have the thing that motivates you, that you live for, that your purpose is set, everything else you could be great at because it is not that important to you. So you can be the best you can be in any given moment. So, but finding the reason for you right now is huge. What do you want to do? Not only when you get out of school to be, but what are you going to do next week? What are you going to do when you get out of this meeting? Who are you going to be to people that you care about, that care about you or need your help? When you find your purpose and you're whole inside and you know why you exist and why you're here, what you love, you can be so helpful to those around you. Selfishness goes away and love comes out and acceptance comes out. And you're just a much better person to be around. And why is that important? Because when you're interviewing, that comes out and people see, wow, an amazing individual across the table. Opportunity comes to you when you find your purpose and you open up and you become a great human being. All of those things align for you to get opportunity. And opportunity is how you reach your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations in life. Opportunity is what you need in front of you. When you're shut down, you don't know who you are, and you're negative, and you bring things from the past with you, that comes out across the table, and people don't want to hire you. So remember the magic that is becoming that person that you want everybody to see that you are. And it comes from finding your purpose and knowing who you are and expressing that in every single thing that you do every single day. And it works. It's not that hard. And all you got to do is find things that you love. You don't have to know exactly what it is now. Like it took me forever, but find that thing that's going to drive you to the end of the year or this month. Find a purpose for the week. Find a purpose for the meeting you're about to go in. Why are we here? What am I doing in this room? Find a purpose from the book you're going to read. What are you going to take from it? Find that purpose in everything that you do, and you will not waste time, and you will get to success much quicker.
Avi's got another question, and then
Yeah.
Karen, I know you have something here. I'll just go ahead, Avi. A few more minutes here.
Cool. So what were kind of the groundwork opportunities, whether that was a job or an internship or something like that, that you were a part of, whether you were in college or right out of college, that allowed you to catch some attention from some of the places that you've worked at, you know, Chiat Day, McCann Erickson, and Salesforce are all very notable companies and very are you know, giants in the field. So yeah, what are some of the groundwork opportunities that you've gotten to be a part of that have helped kind of define your career?
Yeah, every single thing built on the next thing, right? Most important thing that I ever did was show up to Temple University. I mean, there'd be nothing, absolutely zero without that. Right where you all are right this very moment is the single most important thing you're going to do for your lives. It is. You're where you are. Going to that school, and, you know, the most important thing I did is I became a man there. I showed up there an idiotic boy, not knowing much of anything. Just so screwed up in my head about what life was and what things were. And Temple, you know, helped me become a man. 4 years later, I left there. I wouldn't say I was the man I was going to be in life, but it straightened me out. It taught me how to live on my own. It introduced me to the closest friends I have today. My closest friends today, I met that first year at Temple University. And it's just amazing. I've gotten some of their kids' internships when I was at Salesforce, and to get up in life to see those guys have kids and then to get those kids jobs, that is just amazing. But, you know, so Temple, number one. Two, like I said, everything builds on the next thing. My first job at Chiat had zero experience. All I had was a great attitude. You know, I walked into that interview and I was determined to let them see the potential that I had, and that I would do anything that it took to get there. And I had 5 interviews that day. I didn't know anything about anything. I never interviewed. I interviewed a bunch of places before and they were all horrible, but for some reason I was determined, because it was the right job for me. It was the right place. It was a really incredibly creative place. And so I got that job having nothing but a great attitude in the moment in the interview. From then on, I built some work there. I stayed there for 5 years. I learned how to be a copywriter. It's my home alarm. Hold on a second.
Oh, no.
Something's not connecting. I'm home. I'm doing all this bandwidth with all the internet, and my home alarm keeps going off. But I built some work there. There was a foundation. That work got me the next job, And I've had some really terrible jobs too, places where I didn't even like where I was. But even that was an amazing learning moment. Every single thing you do, whether good or bad, matters. And sometimes those bad experiences, you won't understand this maybe yet, are the most important. Knowing what you don't want, knowing what upsets you, knowing what holds you back, and knowing what hurts you is as important as knowing what your purpose is, what you love to do, where you thrive, and all of the things that you admire. You've got to know both. And the only way to know if you're doing something that you hate and is not right and feels awful is to do something you hate that doesn't feel right, that feels awful. And there is no person on earth that doesn't have those moments, both of them. You're never going to have a career where everything's great and it only gets better. That doesn't even happen in the movies. A good movie isn't even that. A good movie is boy meets girl. Girl's parents hate the boy. The girl's parents want to kill the boy. They do try to kill the boy, but they persevere. And in the end, the boy and the girl get together, but they both commit suicide because their love was so strong. They couldn't live in a world where they couldn't be together, and no one wanted to leave. That's Romeo and Juliet, classic story. But, you know, life is full of those moments, and it's knowing both that gets you to the place where you really realize where you need to be. But hopefully that answers your question.
You know what, guys, we are out of time, but
That went by so fast.
it went so fast, and I can't thank you enough. I want you all, I don't know if you can, it's weird, we can't applaud. Can we applaud? I don't know if you can see these hands. I can see them all.
It's me that should applaud for all of you. I'm just a guy on a video conference. It's all of you that are gonna, they're gonna get out of school and take over the world and take us to a new place. It's your generation that's going to make the world a success, and it's why we're all here. So to make sure that you get out of there, that you get the best education in the world, and you go off and you do all the
John,
things you dream of. Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're cutting out a little bit.
Okay.
If these guys want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Yeah, just email's good. You know.
I know your inbox is already full.
LinkedIn's probably best. Get on LinkedIn and ping in there. That way we can keep it running track of the conversation.
Yeah.
And let's do this again. We can do this every once in a while. It's all good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for spending time with us.
It's my pleasure.
Really appreciate it. And I'm glad you get to spend time with your girls. That was kind of what inspired this. I saw that John was posting pictures of him and his girls and their artwork on the refrigerator. I'm like, hey, come to class. So
it's all good.
So
you're welcome,
for your time. Thank you for the inspiration. Really appreciate it. Lots of thank yous coming in for you here. So,
oh, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone. Stay safe. Stay healthy.